You said that most women don't like men that much.
I'm pretty convinced this. The data is in my favor. But yes, I would say women don't like men that much. They don't hate men. I'm not saying all women hate men. But most women, I would say, are pretty indifferent to most men. Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of data more recently brought to light kind of what our realm that we're in this industry, where the online dating data has kind of bore that out, where there's the famous OkCupid study where only 20% of men are rated attractive by women. There's also Tinder analytics where you look at how many swipes men do versus women do and how many women go on dates versus how many men. The vast majority of, here's where you would go empirical data, pre-internet. You could talk to old timers like me or Rollo or that exceptionally handsome man, Troy Francis, that despicably handsome man. Even Troy Francis.
Got a crush?
No, he's just like, he's a great guy. No, but he's just so good looking. And then he has this British accent on top of it. And then he's nice. Like, you're a dick. I gotta enjoy your company too. Troy Francis, handsome as he is, British accent as he does, he's been shot down the majority of times by women. And you think like, wait a minute, and there's a very simple study where I think it was a professor, he had 100, what the heck? Oh, he had one female student, one male student go up and ask, I think it was 100 men and 100 women, would you go to bed with me? Mm-hmm. Just like that. And not one girl said yes to the guy, where I think most of the guys said yes to the gal. It's there. It's genetic. It's ingrained. It's not evil. It's not malicious. I just don't think women are that attracted to men. And it's borne out in many different sociological, even genetic statistics with the genome.
Why do you say it's genetic when, like, 100 years ago, most women married most men?
Well, because
they 85% of women were married.
Well, yeah, you needed men back in the day.
Right.
Previous, and that's one of the premises, and not even a premises, one of the facts I established early on and point out in I think both books, is you had the Industrial Revolution and then more modernly the IT or technical revolution. And that liberated everyone from physical hard labor. So now we have mostly white-collar work, which women can do. Women can do white-collar work. They can find accountants, doctors, whatever. But in the times past, they needed the guy mainly, 90-odd% of the population was farmers. They needed the male's physical labor to go and either hunt, farm, protect, all that other stuff, and the ladies stayed home. Well, the Industrial Revolution, especially air conditioning and computers, liberated everybody from that. Now women could go make their own money. So now they are not financially dependent upon men. You throw on the welfare state, you have an insurance policy. Right? Yeah, 65 in the United States and on. But now, even if you fail in your career or you just don't want to work, you are now doubly less dependent upon men, and you can make your own choice. And it's been a fascinating, it's like Tom Cruise and Tropic Thunder. It's like sometimes if you listen, the world's trying to tell you something, Peck. All men have to do, and this is what I've done in my research, step back. What are women choosing? They don't need anymore. They haven't needed them for quite some time. How are women behaving? What choices are they making? They are not choosing to get married. And if they are choosing to get married, they're only going to sell for a very top echelon of men. And so you can see this in their behavior that you could say, oh, the girls are crying themselves to sleep. Oh, girls with pining, they really do want a guy. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Maybe at night they're crying themselves to sleep and they really want a guy. And yes, we could always make that, but only a top 2% guy, whatever microscopic percentage it might be. They still choose career, education, politics, sometimes even kids outside of a husband. You still look at their behaviors. And I don't care what they say.
Right.
Crying at home after they got back from the nightclub drunk, I just really want a guy. Their choices in the real world, which is the only thing that matters, has made it that they are not choosing men, and that's only what men can react to. And so I would say looking at that, and I believe they're being honest. They want to. You could argue, well, they've been conditioned, and okay, that's fine, they've been conditioned. At the end of the day, they're still choosing to go into debt for largely worthless degrees. They're still going out and partying and having fun. They're choosing careers, and I'm a libertarian. I don't care what you do with your life. That's fine, right? But it is fascinating to watch from an anthropological viewpoint. Like we're watching gorillas in the mist, And now they have the Industrial Revolution. And now, look, now there's the welfare state. How will these creatures of the human world react? Well, they're not going out with guys. Right. And you're getting your answer through their behavior and their choices. And again, and it's kind of hard for in some of the people we mentioned before. That's hard for men to acknowledge and realize emotionally, psychologically, and genetically.
It's very hard for you?
Yeah, but I had it was not so much the data, it was just trial and error. Because I'm old. We had to ask people out in person back in the day. We'd put our spears away after we slew the mammoth, and we'd walk up to the pretty girl with her, leopard bikini. You were
never married though, right?
No,
you
never.
Didn't have like a crazy. Most guys in the space have, not most, but a decent amount had like a crazy divorce story.
Yeah, I've dated crazy girls. Yeah, I just watched all the boomer men in my family get divorced, and I'm like, this is not. And it also, in my benefit, it didn't seem at a benefit at the time, but it ended up having me here. There was no help from my parents, like no money. I dropped from 147 to 118 pounds in college because I just couldn't afford a lot of food. Also, I worked security, so you're biking and all that. I didn't have time to be worrying about world, chasing girls, and all that other stuff. So I had to be much more shrewd and economic with my resources. And you just, like, for example, I could never afford kids. These girls, one girl I dated, nice gal. I want 4 kids minimum. 4 kids minimum. Well, where are you going to get the money? I can barely afford parking. What world are you in?
I talked to one guy. His dad isn't from here, and he was like, American women, that's amazing. They can, like, your mother never paid. At least like you're these American women, they pay, right? And he's like, no,
they don't. No, they don't. They really don't. Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, at any point in time, well, maybe not any point, but these gals could have like, I really want to get together with you. It's like, okay, well, you going to pay my rent? Are you going to because in the meantime, I got to work another shift. So having those limits, I had to be much more shrewd with prospects like having kids or getting married. And when you just see everyone getting divorced, like, this is, I can't afford to go through a divorce and what meager assets I have, be split in half. It just wasn't doable.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about, like, women want the soft life now and they want to be standard?
No. No.
What do you think about
No, you don't know. No, that is, you don't get to tell men for literally 50 years you don't need them and you're going to do it on your own. And
no,
that's.
You haven't seen the TikToks?
I've seen them. No.
The dresses are here.
So much political, economic, educational, corporate, and I would say psychological on a society-wide level. So much infrastructure has been laid that women are going to be equal. They're going to support themselves. We've invested in that for generations, 3 generations now.
Can you give me an example of the infrastructure?
Well, for example, quotas. We got to get a certain amount of DEI, affirmative action being kind of law. That'd be an example. The psychological infrastructure, well, should be educational infrastructure, is they're pushing women into push women into education. They got to do so. Absolutely. I'm all for you going and becoming engineers, but then also besmirching and like, oh my God, you don't need a man. You're a pick-me. That kind of belittling and smearing marriage. So there's a psychological predates you, but I would love to go and read some of those Teen Beat, Vogue, 17 magazines, what they told young women back in my age, what it was, or more modernly, which would be your TikTok filth that you have now. And then, not to get too political, but the Democrat Party and feminism as a I guess the women's wing of leftist politics. Again, getting back to that the value system, like, oh my God, you're a woman, and it's just that's all you need to be, and that's just so amazing. It's like me saying, oh my God, I'm a brown-eyed person. I'm just amazing, and I'm going to live my entire life to that. So
no one says that to you?
No one, because it's ridiculous. It's as equally ridiculous. Can I mention his name? Yeah. Jeremiah's black. All right? I have brown eyes, and you're tall. Oh my God, let's just go jerk off to ourselves in a mirror with traits where it's ridiculous. And it's the same thing. Like, I got brown eyes. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Have you seen the eye chart on Twitter?
No, what's the eye chart?
Oh, so I found this out. I just got on Twitter in the last year. And I didn't know there's this whole like eye chart, and they believe that if you have like the bluest of eyes, you're like royalty.
Royalty.
Yeah, so I'm apparently in I forgot, I'm like third on the chart because I have green eyes. So, you know.
I think your ancestors were just from northern climates. That's pretty much, I don't know if it means you're from royalty.
I don't know. They keep putting Trump's son as like the king. They're like, he's going to be.
That's exactly my point. This is ridiculous.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
There's a little sect on X that's what they believe.
But however, whether it's government politics, laws, I would say more so current social psychology among women in general. I mean, look at younger gals. Like the polling data, it's borne out in polling. Younger gals, Gen Z, men are ranked 7th on the priority list behind a whole bunch of other things. That is having an effect and is an example that infrastructure that has been laid down and sent several generations of women down a path that in hindsight now they're like, oh, I want my soft girl life. No, we can't. We have a welfare state. You need to work and pay for those taxes that you voted for. There's all this free crap that you wanted. Yeah. You know where it comes to a head. It's exact. Can't have your cake and eat it too. What do most women want, but they can't have now?
Top 5% of men.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. In terms of lifestyle, what's something that they're 40, they're crying, they're drinking their wine. Stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Too bad. You voted in all these entitlements. You voted in the welfare state. You said you're going to work. You got to work. And we still spend more than we got. We got, I don't know, 32 trillion in debt.
Right.
No, all hands on deck. You said you're going to do the thing. You're going to do the thing. And if you don't, there's a tremendous amount of economic hurt that's coming our way.